Hey guys, alright, so this is video 2 for checkpoint 1 for your koi fish artwork, okay? So, we've finished up our fins, now it's time to do our scale work. Your scales are going to be larger up towards the head of the fish, and they're going to get smaller as they go down. Okay. So again, your scales are going to be larger towards the head of the fish, and they're going to get smaller as they go down. Okay. The other thing I want you to notice is, if you notice that, just to add definition, I left an area of white on each one of those scales, and that's just to help with the layering. It's kind of a stylized effect, but I want you guys to do the same thing. So if you need to give yourself an extra line for each one of your scales, then you're going to need to do that. But I'm not going to tell you like that you have to have a line on there, because I don't want there to be a visible line with pencil. I want it to be created using the color pencil. Okay, so I started my scale there. Now, I want these scales to be rather large up towards the head. Okay. And when you do your second row, they need to be staggered, and I'll show you what I mean by that. Alright, so here's my first row of regular scales. Okay, I'm just going to darken them up a little bit. Okay, my second row, I'm going to start in the middle spot of each of the previous scales. So, middle. Okay, and then this one will go from the middle of that one to the middle of that one. Okay, this one's going to go from the middle of this one to the middle of that one. Okay, and this one will go basically off the fish to the side. Okay, and you're going to do that on both sides. Alright, so this is actually going to get smaller now. We don't want it to, keep being too large. So you got to make sure you start reducing the size of your scale as you go, because we don't want huge scales down here. It wouldn't make sense for the fish. Okay. So this seems like a really big area, so I'm just going to try to, maybe do this. And that seems to be working. It's still getting the smaller look about it. Okay. Smaller. This seems like a big gap here, so I gotta be careful. I don't wanna... You don't want to stretch your line out too far and then have it look like your scales are getting larger. Okay, so... Okay. Okay, I'm going to create a little curve over here. Alright. I don't want to get too small though, so at some point you're going to kind of slow down the shrinking, I guess you could say. So I'm going to stay this size for now. Okay. might start shrinking down just a little bit again. So notice that I didn't draw through that spine because remember, again, it's not see-through. So you don't want, same thing with this one. We don't want it to look like you can see through it. There are types of fish that you can see through their fins, but that's only like x-ray fish or tetras, not koi. It's kind of not getting that rounded look that I need it to, so it needs to kind of come down more. See if I can fix that. Alright, let me figure this out. So if I want it to kind of okay, I'm kind of getting caught up now because I'm trying to catch up. This side was getting kind of left behind on the look of it. Alright, so it's going to be smaller over here, get kind of larger here, and smaller over here. Okay, same thing. Smaller, get kind of larger. Alright, so the scales are done now, okay? So now the next thing that we really need to look at is the marks that are going to be on this fin. I didn't do it in the last video, and honestly it probably should have been done in the last video considering it is part of the fins, and since I did it for the other fins, you know, I'm going to turn this because for me it's just easier to get the nice straight lines that I want if I kind of turn it this way and do it like this. So all the lines don't necessarily have to be the same length or anything for this part. It's just, think about like the spine fins, you know, even the word spine, like, you know, it's usually like that thought of like sharp or, you know, and So you're just giving those almost like little spine things that stick up in their back fin. Okay. This fin here, you don't really see any of that, but if you want, you can go in and kind of add some small ones. And then it'll give it some of that look about it. I've seen some people also add in some texture in the face, like if you want to just kind of, you know, go in and add, you know, a little bit of that in different spots. It tends to make it look kind of cool too. Okay. All right, so now for the waves. Okay, this can get kind of tricky. The first thing that I want to do is I want to create an area where the water is kind of splash over my koi fish. If you've ever seen koi fish, especially if you go to feed them, they jump out of the water a little bit. They can get kind of rowdy, and that's what this is supposed to be depicting. It's showing you a koi fish that's kind of surfacing. It's coming to the surface of the water. Now, this area that I'm drawing, these curved lines that are like pretty much parallel, that's going to be where the water, you can see it. Oh, hold on. Okay. That's going to be where the water is splashing over. And you see that you can still see the scales through the water, but it's almost like you're looking through that, so the color is not going to be as vibrant there, or you can have the color, you know, be tainted by the blue. You know, it's not going to be those bright colors that you would see. Okay, so we're going to keep the scales there, and even, you know, having this water come down here is fine too. The next part, we're trying to draw those splashes, okay, guys? So, right over this area here, almost like it's coming right from this wave that we have going over top, we're going to create some kind of little shape off of it. And that's just going to be, we're going to use a lot of the white from the paper, and we're going to be blending in some blue. Now this part here, this is going to be a larger wave that we've got going over top. And it's just about kind of like making it go up and come back down over itself, have it go back up. Okay. For this one here, I'm going to have it be kind of like a foamy, almost like a foamy wave. If you've ever seen Japanese artwork, they like to show like waves by Mount Fuji, and this right here, and I'll show you guys in class what I'm talking about with that. You know, I'll show you some artworks that really, you know, I always get one particular artwork in mind, but this is all going to be kind of splashing. Right now it's going to look kind of weird until we can get those color pencils in there and really start blending and working with your blues and purples and, you know, cool colors for your water. But I'm also going to go back in. I don't want to be able to see this pencil line when I'm using the color pencils. So if I start to notice that I'm able to see the pencil line, then I'm probably going to have to erase out some of my pencil line and then go over top, or like make it lighter so that you can't really see it, and then go over top with my blue color pencil, because I want it to look like the blue is the only thing that's adding that line and shadow. I don't like that line. Yours doesn't have to look exactly like mine, but I want you to try to get these splash kind of patterns, just kind of like mine isn't even going to look like my original, you know what I mean? It's just giving it those splash patterns as much as I can. Same thing around the tail, because you imagine that the tail would be splashing up water. So you want to have some nice splashes going on here too. Okay. I'm going to add some more over here. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing up by the head on this side. Okay, so I'm going to add okay. I'm going to make sure that you guys can see this whole thing. I'm going to go over the pattern of the waves again, just so you can definitely see it. But remember, this is just kind of a guide. Yours don't have to look exactly like mine. So your little waves can be a little different. And remember, the only reason why I'm going over mine to make them darker right now is so that you guys can see them. In all honesty, if I was just drawing this for myself, I would not be going over them, because I don't want the dark lines in the end. What I'm going to need to do in the end is probably erase out my lines a little bit so that my blue, the different shades of blue, will be able to cover this. Okay. The thing that's going to make this really pop and look great is the combination of using the white from the paper and the different shades of blues and purples that I'm going to put in this and blend together. So this is really going to be kind of a lesson on color mixing. So when we get to that checkpoint 2, Checkpoint 2 is really going to rely a lot on your color mixing skills. You know, especially with the koi fish itself, you know, having different warm colors showing in the koi fish. And then with our waves and our water, it's all going to be really using a lot of blending techniques and things like that to really make it look good. Once I'm done outlining these waves so that you guys can see them, then I'm going to go, I'm going to take a picture of this and I will put it up for your checkpoint 1 to know about what you should be, what your project should look like after checkpoint 1. And this is basically it, guys. This is what checkpoint 1 should look like. Okay? If you've got any kind of, like, I've got some smudging going on here, try to erase that out, make it look nice and neat. If you've got stray lines, try to clean it up a little bit. But yeah, this is pretty much, this is our checkpoint 1. Okay? So if you have any questions, remember, send me an email or talk to me in class. Alright, guys.